Hello, welcome to another exciting episode on Make It Legal. Now, on this episode, we want to present to you 8 legal myths that are so common in Ghana. You hear about them, we tell our friends about it, and we tell other people about it. We assume that they are right or they are legally permitted, or there's a law that prescribes them. They are legal myths, and in this video, I want to present to you 8 common legal myths in Ghana. I am Godwin Selassie Dakbo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal. The first legal myth I want to talk to you about is the myth that every police officer can seize your license. When you are a driver, you are expected by the law to carry with you your driver's license. It must be with you in the car before you can drive the car anywhere in town. When the police officer stops you, he has the right to ask you to produce that license to be inspected. But remember, not every police officer has the right to seize the license after you produce it for inspection. Their duty is to inspect it and ensure that you're not carrying a fake license around town, or you are not driving the car without license. Remember, if you don't carry it along whilst you are driving, it is an offense. But you must also not allow any police officer at all to take it from you and seize it. Any police officer can ask you to produce it for purposes of inspection, and they can take it and inspect it and give it back to you. But once the police officer wants to seize your license, he or she must be of a particular rank. And the law is that a police officer who is not below the rank of an inspector is the only person who can seize your license. What the law means is that a police officer who is not an inspector, chief inspector, and all the ranks above the inspector cannot seize your driving license. If they do, it is a misconduct, and you can report them to the Police Intelligence and Professional Standard Bureau. So what are some of the ranks of officers who are below the rank of an inspector? So we're talking about a constable, a lance corporal, a corporal, and a sergeant. These police officers cannot seize your license when you produce to them for inspection. So next time when you walk about in town and a police officer asks you to produce your license for inspection, provide it to any of them that is available to inspect. But before they seize it from you, just check their ranks right here on their shoulder. So police officers who have ranks like a constable's rank, a lance corporal's rank, and a corporal's rank, as well as a sergeant rank, cannot seize your driver's license in town. Take note, it is a myth to assume that every police officer has the right or the legal mandate of law to seize your license. That is a legal myth number 1. Legal myth number 2 is that once I build on a land, I will own it. This is about land ownership lies, and people assume in town that when they claim to be the owner of a land and they quickly build the property or the house on the land, the court will declare them as the owner. When they build a structure to pass a particular level of the building, the court would grant the right of ownership of the property in their favor. It is wrong. It is not legally correct. The law is that every landed property transaction or every land transaction in Ghana must be in writing, unless the law expressly excludes that transaction from writing. And when we talk about these exclusions, we are talking about transactions that are customarily related. It is a customary law transaction. It is not expected to be in writing. And we're also talking about a rent or a lease of property for a period less than 3 years. Those instances and some other instances, you are not expected to have it in writing. But in all other instances, a landed property transaction or land transaction must always be in writing to be effective and to be legal. So if you don't have a written lease, assignment, or sublease for your land, you are not the owner, or you do not have an interest in it. Even if you go ahead to build a house on the property, you could see that many people have their buildings demolished because they rushed to build on the property, thinking that once they are done with the construction work, the court will pronounce them the owners, or equity will come in to say that it is not fair to demolish the property he has constructed from the scratch all the way to the roofing level. The court will not say that. So if it is not yours by legal documents, the fact that you built on it does not make it. The third legal myth I want to share with you is the assumption or the conclusion people have in mind that before you can divorce your wife or your husband, you need his or her consent to do so. So people are suffering in marriages, and everything shows that the marriage is not working. They have explored all options. Interventions have been made by family and friends. Pastors have counseled them, but it's still not working. And it shows clearly that the parties would have to agree to go their separate way by going through the divorce proceedings. But one party, who obviously is the one who is suffering, keep quiet in a marriage, because we have come to understand that you need the consent of the other partner before you can be granted divorce in court. That is just a myth. It's not true. Once you have basis to file a divorce in court and you file the divorce petition, the court will get your evidence in support of the allegations you are making that the marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. And if the court is satisfied that you have evidence to show that the marriage is indeed broken down beyond reconciliation, the court can proceed to dissolve the marriage if your partner fails to come to court to defend his or her position. So if your partner thinks that the marriage has not broken up beyond reconciliation, but he or she is not coming to court to do the case, the court is mandated by law to proceed with the case without further notice to him or her, and divorce can be granted to you when he or she fails to come to court and to answer the allegations you have as to why the marriage should be dissolved. Myth number 4 is the assumption that once there is a divorce, every property we acquire will be shared 50-50 between the spouses. It is just a presumption of law that when you are in marriage, every property you have together or you have acquired during the marriage, you have acquired it jointly. Now, if that presumption can be proved by evidence that no, you did not actually acquire it jointly, the law will not share it between the two of you as a joint property. Now, what it means is that you will not automatically get 50% of your husband's property on divorce, or as a man, you would also not get 50% share of your wife's property just because you are dissolving the marriage. The law is that the properties you acquired during the marriage are presumed to be jointly acquired. And joint acquisition here means that, for example, Mr. A owns 90%, Mrs. B probably owns 10%. That is a jointly acquired property. It does not always mean that you have a 50% share and the other partner also has a 50% share. That conclusion, without more, is a myth, and it's so common in the country. So men and women are rushing to court with the assumption that when they go, 50% of the husband property will be given to them, or their wife's property will be given to them. And some of them actually are avoiding divorce, not because they don't have the basis, but because they think that when they file for divorce, 50% of the properties they have acquired will be given to their wife or to their husband. It is not always the case, and it is a myth that we are debunking in this video. Myth number 6 is the perception that once I marry under customary law, when we are divorcing, my wife will not have access to share the properties I have acquired during the marriage. That is what we think, and that is what many people believe. So men are going to marry and they are asking you questions about whether they should do ordinance marriage or customary marriage and all of that, and their reason for asking is because they think that once they marry under the ordinance and the court will be the only platform that can dissolve the marriage, the court will always inquire into their properties and then it has to be shared and all of that. So they don't want that. So they marry with the intention that should this marriage be dissolved one day, I should not lose all my property. I mean, which is not bad, but the truth is that whether you marry under customary law or the ordinance, issues of property will be addressed. Remember, a spouse can actually make an application to the court to dissolve even a marriage that is not contracted as an ordinance marriage. So a customary law marriage can also be dissolved under the laws of Ghana in a court. So what it means is that if it happens to go to court, issues of property will be raised. And even if you do it in the house under customary rules and then dissolve the marriage in accordance with the customs of the parties concerned, the rule is that the party can actually apply to court for property settlement and for maintenance and for custody and all of those issues. So all of those issues can still be sent to the court, even though you have done the dissolution of the marriage out of court. Is because it was a customary marriage. So this is important to note, and it's a legal myth to assume that once you have a customary law marriage, you are not going to share your property with your spouse on dissolution of that marriage. Myth number 6 is the assumption that once a lawyer charges you a legal fee and you go to court, once the case is won, the losing party will pay your lawyer's legal fee or will pay the fees you have paid your lawyer. Or people also go the step further to assume that you and the other party are going to share the cost of your lawyer's fees. If your lawyer charges 50,000 cedis for a case he's doing for you, you do not have to assume that 50,000 will be shared between you, the other person you want your lawyer to sue. No, it is yours alone to bear. Now, when the case is over, of course, the judge would award a cost to the winning party. So the losing party will be asked to pay some cost to the winning party. But that cost is not going to be the exact cost you might have paid your lawyer for the services he rendered for you. It is the cost you will bear alone, and the defendant or the other party you have sued in court would also pay his or her own lawyer's fees. So it is not about you and the other party sharing the fees of your lawyer. No, that assumption is wrong, and it's not what is done, and it's not what is to be done by any law. It's important to know that, so you don't assume that the fee your lawyer is charging you, when the case is over, the other party will be asked to pay that fee to you, so that you don't pay any money at all to engage your lawyer to send the case to court, because it was by his fault that you have gone to court. The court would award you a cost, but that cost will not always be exactly adequate to compensate you for the amount you might have paid your lawyer to do the case for you. Now, the last myth, I'm not going to share it. I want you to rush to the comment section now and drop that last myth that you know about as one of the things that are so common. People assume it's legal, but it's just a myth. It is not true. It is a perception which is wrong. Which one do you know or have you heard about? Drop it in the comment section, and I would like to invite you to specially, be a part of the Make It Legal family. We are doing great things here. We are getting enlightened and educated. We are well enlightened citizens on this platform. So when you happen to see any of our videos, feel free to watch it thoroughly and watch it to the end. When you are done, please subscribe to the channel and do like the video and share it across anybody. We like to hear from you in the comment section, so why not go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know what you think. What's on your mind? You have a question, you have a response, you have a comment, you disagree with us, feel free and share it, and we'll respond to it in a minute. So thank you, and see you in the next video. I am Godwin Selassie Dakpo, and this is Make It Legal. Make it legal.